Hi there, I'm Dr. Wendy Coughlin. I have a PhD in social sciences with an emphasis in psychology, and I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I'm also a person in long-term recovery and the author of 12 Steps to Sequel. So today we're going to talk about step 3, or should I say 3S. Actually, they're the same. The original steps say, made a decision to turn our will and our life over the care of God as we understood God, and the sequel steps. I can't change 3 and 11, so they're the same. That would just be uh, ridiculous and foolish. Why would I want to change the concept that in recovery, in significant duration of recovery, we're going to suddenly start controlling our lives. We're going to suddenly take control of that ship and take control and do everything by ourselves without access to anyone else. Doesn't make sense. They talk about in addiction, our self-will has run riot. Well, in recovery, our self-will should be moderated by information around us. So turn your will over, turn your intention over, so that you can become aware of more stuff, more ideas. In our addictive disorders, our world gets smaller and smaller and smaller. In recovery, it can get bigger and bigger and bigger if we turn our will and our lives over and recognize there's a power greater than ourselves that has restored us to sanity. Again, that power may come from a deity, or it may just come from recovery and health and wellness and being in community. It doesn't really matter, your concept of a God. So let's talk about concepts of God. I reference those who have a traditional kind of Christian concept of God out of the AA Big Book, which originated the 12 Steps. There's a lot of other faiths that have concepts of God. Some are pantheistic, some are monotheistic, others are Unitarian. There's many different theistic uh, religions around the world that speak to a divine being. Now, when somebody asks me if I have a concept of divine being, I say, yeah, I sort of do. But that concept is that a divine being is infinite. And if the divine being is infinite, can't be explained with words. So there we go. I'm okay. And I can turn my will and my life over the care of God as I understand God. I make the analogy in the book as to, when people are frustrated and don't want to turn their will over, they think they need to stay in charge. If you've ever flown on a plane, you're turning your will, your life over. Now you're doing that to a number of people who you may or may not know. Generally, you won't know them, including the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, and its counterparts around the world. But when we get on a plane, we just assume things are going to work out the way we intend them to. What a concept if we applied that to life. We just assume things are going to work out in our best interest. Having been addicts and now being in recovery, we may have had experiences that things don't work out, but that's one of the shifts in recovery. They do work out. So again, back to the concept of a God. Many acronyms for God. The one that I tend to forget, which is really important with regard to the sequel, third step, is a glimpse of destiny. If you open up to something and someone and some people, information outside yourself, you may get a glimpse of your new destiny. It's pretty exciting. Another, which tends not to be so popular, is grow or die. For those of us who had substance use disorders, that's a very literal death. If we continue to abuse substances, we most likely would have had a premature death. But for those who had behavioral addictions or other addictions that didn't quite take them to the precipice of their life ending, maybe it's just a spiritual death. Maybe it's just a death of excitement, a death of enthusiasm, a death of opportunities. So now the challenge is to grow. That's what the sequel's all about. Maybe you're just going to listen to a group of drunks or a group of drug addicts, GOD, group of drugs, group of drug addicts. Again, the acronym. Maybe you're just going to look at God as good, orderly direction. Who can argue about that? Even those of you who have theistic beliefs. Doesn't the God of your understanding provide good, orderly direction if you open up and listen? And that's really the challenge of the third step, is to get out of our own egocentric, limited worldview and see what else is out there. Just by watching this podcast, you're allowing yourself to see what else may be out there. And I so appreciate that. And I'm hoping that by my taking the time to put these chapters on the internet and allow everyone to have access to them, that expands people's excitement about recovery. Because I tell you, it can be one dynamite journey. But you do need to remember to Kismet. Keep it simple and make it fun. Thanks.